In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is blood politics, and we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet, and we ain't gonna be scared, and we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is blood politics.
Let's go. Let's go.
This is blood politics, and we gonna do what we
got a lot to
do.
get into. We got a lot to get into, and not a lot of time to do it. So what do you say we just hop right into it? What's going on, guys? I'm Brian. This is Blunt Politics. Thank you guys so much for joining me once again. Lots of ridiculousness to get into as usual. How's everybody doing? Sun shining here in the Boston area. Hopefully the sun's shining where you are too. Slowly creeping into the spring and summer season. Typically, it is a rapid change here in New England. We just go from like snow to 97 degrees. There's no kind of like in between anymore. But before we get into the craziness, as we always do, what do you say we say hi to the chat? Let everybody filter in. Let everybody come in and say hi to everybody. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. What's going on, Marcus? I see you over there on Facebook, brother. What's happening, brother? What's going on? What's up, Yakov? What's up, Rocks? What's up to all the mods? What's up, Tiff? Appreciate you guys. Thank you for everything that you do. What's up to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Substack, the whole 9 yards. Let's go. Appreciate you guys. What's up, Wes? How are you, my brother? How's everybody doing? What's up, Will? What's going on, guys? What's up, Graphene? What's going on, Nance? How are you? What's up, Donna? What's up, Twitchy? I see you guys. What's up, Troll Slayer? What's up, Just Julie? Appreciate everybody over there on this space as well. Thank you to Matt. Thank you to the mods. A little housekeeping note as well on tonight's show. We got an 8:30 p.m. show tonight as well. We'll be joined by another member of the This Space kind of society, This Space atmosphere, as it were. We're going to be talking to Alex, aka Devil's Advocate. So stick around. Come join us tonight at 8:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. That's 5:30 on the West Coast. So. All right, what's going on, Chad? How's everybody doing? What's up, Ian? Yeah, lots to talk about today. Lots to get into. As usual, no shortage of shit to talk about. We'll be speaking about how J.D. Vance was heckled at the probably smallest attended Turning Points convention, Turning Points event that I've ever seen. And again, even in that small crowd, there was hecklers there for J.D. Vance to have to contend with. So we'll be dealing with that. Obviously talking about the fact that Erica Kirk was claiming some security concerns, yet they let the vice president of the United States sit on the stage with no protection, no plexiglass, no nothing. So we'll be talking about that. Trump embarrassing himself once again on with Maria Bartiromo. There's a few things that we have to cover as far as that's concerned as well. See where this whole blockade is going to take us. I know there's being, at the same time that there's more troops being sent to the Middle East, there's also ongoing talks of more negotiations happening possibly in Islamabad. So we'll be covering that. John Fetterman doing everything he possibly can to continue to simp for not only this war and the bloodshed that has come from it, but anything that Donald Trump does at this point. John Fetterman went on with Maria Bartiromo, I think probably just to keep Donald Trump's seat warm after Donald Trump left from his conversation. So we'll be taking a look at that. More Lego craziness to dive into. They have already come out with a quote-unquote fake Jesus drop. So they're really quick on the upkeep as far as that's concerned. We'll be talking about how support for Israel is in the absolute gutter here in the United States, which pretty much every category, no matter which voting bloc that you talk to, the support for Israel has dropped dramatically. Greg Kelly seems really, really nervous about where this blockade could go. And then we have a couple clips here from some people in West Virginia that are, having to cope with their Trump vote, let's just say, with the way that their state has voted and what that means as far as their energy bills and like cost of living. So we'll be diving into all that and probably a lot more if we can fit it in. But yeah, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Pops. Pops laying up in the hospital right now with a little bit of a stomach issue. So if anybody could drop in the W's, Pops in there, give a shout out to Pops, send some good vibes my dad's way. That would be very much appreciated as well. This will be day two. Day two. And you know how Irish guys, you know how them bastards, them stubborn bastards don't like going into hospitals for nothing. So, day two of torture for Pop. So I hope everything's all right. He's just trying to get some results back from some tests that are being done. So hopefully everything's a-okay. But shout out to Pops in the chat there. All right. What do you say we dive into it? Let's see what else we can talk about. First thing I want to talk about is this. Because this is kind of fitting right in line with everything else that we've seen with the pardons from the January 6 people to the control that Donald Trump has over not only Pam Bondi but also what's her name, Jeanine Pirro as well. So basically just doing the bidding of not only these right-wing nationalists but the violent criminals that were actually convicted for their conspiracy. As far as it pertains to January 6th, but this was reported here. Justice Department moves to toss seditious conspiracy convictions of Oath Keepers and Proud Boys. Again, why this would ever be even contemplated, why this would ever be a thing, it is fucking well beyond me. But it goes on to say here, on Tuesday, the Justice Department asked the Columbia Circuit to vacate seditious conspiracy convictions for Proud Boys and Oath Keepers leaders, aiming to permanently dismiss their indictments. Following President Trump's commutation of these leaders' sentences last January, attorney Jeanine Pirro signed the filing, citing prosecutorial discretion to dismiss cases in the interest of justice. Now, that sounds like a little bit of an ironic statement considering what we're talking about that they did. Your position right now, and you now throwing these fucking these charges out, these convictions out. It says Democrats on Capitol Hill criticized the administration's rhetoric as a dangerous attempt to rewrite history, slamming the president for pardoning over 1,500 convicted rioters last year. And again, you can see how this is being reported. This is just kind of a ground news look at it, where you can see that 61% of the articles written come from what are kind of deemed as center type of articles of kind of what do you call them there, newspaper articles or conglomerates, whatever you want to call them. And then 30% were deemed to be left leaning. Only 9% of kind of people that were reporting on this were deemed to be on the right. So you can see who doesn't want to talk about this at all. But yeah, this is, fitting right in line with everything that we've seen come from the Trump administration as far as letting people off the hook for their crimes. We talked about on last show, CoffeeZilla had a pretty good video that he did detailing some of the crypto scams that were going on behind the scenes. And again, the reports of Donald Trump wanted to just preemptively pardon basically everybody in his orbit so that they could go on continuing to commit crimes without kind of fear of retribution, justice, or accountability as that's concerned. But I mean, we don't have to rehash everything that the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys were involved in as far as January 6th. We've seen the pictures, you know what I mean? We've seen the text messages. We know what they were planning well beforehand. We know what they wanted it. We know what they wanted it to turn into, even above and beyond what it actually did turn into. We know about the guns that were brought into the hotels. Again, they were convicted for a reason. These people were rounded up, convicted for an absolute reason, and now these, this administration, this regime is just again trying to let them off the hook, which is again just going to give them tacit permission to continue to, stoke political violence, stoke political fear, make sure that they can, continuously be out there, beating people or burning things or disrupting different events or making sure that they can go out and antagonize people or again setting up these different coups and seditious conspiracy events because they've been given, again, tacit permission by not only Donald Trump and the White House, but also Jeanine Pirro, now just trying to commutate, trying to, again, toss out these seditious conspiracy convictions of both Oath Keepers and Proud Boys. So just something that I thought we would need to talk about, needs to be brought up. Again, just trying to make this a much more unstable political society, letting these people off. It just, there's no good that's going to come from it. And the fact that she's trying to say that this isn't like, the furtherance and interest of justice is just an absolute fucking joke, right? It's just an absolute joke. But figured we'd dive into that as well. But what we this is kind of crazy because we all know that Turning Points events, they have like the fireworks going off. They're known for having this like huge production, typically with big crowds. Well, apparently JD Vance is one of the most unliked people on the face of the earth right now. Can't even get the Turning Points crowd to show up for him. And even if they did show up, the people that did show up didn't go there in like, favorites of JD Vance. They didn't go there in support of JD Vance. People were actually calling him out. People were heckling him, basically saying that they were bombing kids, which is absolutely true. And then JD Vance was, kind of forced to, defend himself, defend his stance as far as that was concerned. But he also decided to once again attack the Pope, go after the Pope for the stuff that he said, and obviously the back and forth that Donald Trump has been having with him. JD Vance doing everything he can to kind of shine the shoes of Donald Trump, to ride the coattails here, to make sure he defends him at every turn, even though he knows absolutely 100% that Donald Trump is in the wrong with everything that he's saying, much like Mike Johnson knows, of course, with the meme that he posted. I mean, there's just no kind of second guessing what that was supposed to represent, what that was depicting. I mean, let's not fucking beat around the bush here. Let's not act like we're all 2 years old in this regard. I mean, it was pretty clear and pretty obvious exactly what it was depicting. But like I said, JD Vance, and that's not him, but this fucking ugly bastard is, JD Vance was at this Turning Point, and apparently this Turning Point, event was so dangerous that Erica Kirk could not show up. Her security detail, her security team said it was much too dangerous for Erica Kirk to show up to this. But it was okay for the Vice President of the United States to, again, sit open on stage in front of a crowd, not a big crowd, I'll add, because, before we dive into this, I'll show you this. Check this out. This is the arena that JD was speaking in at the time. And just kind of check out the attendance, or lack thereof, I should say, of, where JD was speaking. Check out this event.
It doesn't bother me when he speaks on issues today. Frankly, even when I disagree with how he's applying particular principles.
Jesus Christ. Like, what is that? 200 people, maybe? 150, $160, $175-ish, somewhere in that range. Again, which is being speculated. It's been brought up by people like Candace Owens that's the reason. That's the real reason why Erica Kirk didn't show up, was because of low ticket sales, low turnout. It wasn't worth her time to take the private jet to this event. It would have cost her more money than she actually would have made. So it wasn't worth it for her. So she made up this bullshit about there like being some sort of like security threats and a reason why she couldn't go because of the threats made to the event. Meanwhile, the event went off. Again, the Vice President of the United States sitting there open on stage, having a conversation, no plexiglass, no nothing. So again, leads everybody to believe that was bullshit. And again, it was more towards the ticket sales and everything that Erica Kirk has been called out for recently, as far as taking over as CEO and turning this into some sort of money making machine for herself. Trying to really ramp up the merch sales and talking about this amount of money and that amount of money. She's been called out a bunch, but people are talking about the fact that she now blamed her security detail and them not allowing her to go to this event for the reason that she didn't show up. But here's just a couple minutes from JD Vance. I think first here he goes on to attack the Pope, and then we'll just kind of skip ahead, because I think it's more towards the end of this clip where he gets heckled by one of the, I don't know, maybe 125 people that actually showed up to this event to hear this fucking unpopular bastard speak. All right, let's see if we can just dive into a couple minutes of this.
So I think this segues very well into our next question here. You are a practicing Catholic.
It's a shame, too. It's a shame they didn't get him a couch. The fact that they got this guy sitting on just like a regular love seat is a shame. Like, they probably could have, it really would have made him a lot more comfortable if they gave him like a really nice dolphin-shaped couch, right, to really loosen him up. Like, I don't know, he probably would have taken his pants off at some point, so we probably had to, you would have had to tend with that. That's something to contend with at some point. But, I mean, to make this guy just sit on this, like, regular, janky leather fucking seat that he's on here, not to make him feel more comforted with a really nice, really solid, deep-throated couch that he loves, you know what I mean? It's just a shame. They didn't plan ahead, obviously.
Despite your language, you're attempting to be a faithful Catholic.
That's right.
Yeah, now, as in a faithful Catholic, now talk to me about blasphemy. Now, what does it say in the Bible about blasphemy? Is that like, is it okay if you joke about it? Does it say in the Bible, like, just as long as it's like, okay, you can hear the drums at the end of the joke, as long as you hear that, it's okay. You can blaspheme Jesus all you want. That's probably what it says in the Bible, right? I'm sure it says something along that, because everybody seems to be excusing this, right? Either that, they're actually taking the bullshit that came out of Donald Trump's mouth about him thinking he was a doctor, and then again, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't kind of been buying this to a large extent. Like, the whole like Donald Trump says insane asylums because people are coming here claiming asylum. You know how that's like a thought out there that's why he continues to talk about insane asylums. Like, well, there's another one here as far as like what Donald Trump was talking about in the meme depicting himself as Jesus Christ. Like, people are suspecting that like his PR team told him to go out there and say that the photo was doctored, right? Like it was not a real image. Like it was an AI image. It was a doctored image, not created by him. And what he processed in his mind was that he was a doctor. And again, I have trouble kind of buying the other one. I know he's an idiot, a moron, and just like an absolute fucking putz, which is why I don't think there has to be like some like in-depth connection between what he said and thinks and all this bullshit. He's just a moron a lot of the time. There's no like in-depth answer or reason you have to dig into. He's just a fucking moron. So in this time though, I don't know. I'm kind of more apt to believe this one. I really am. It sounds a lot more plausible. As far as like just some quick answer that his PR team sent him out there with. Just say it was doctored, right? It wasn't you that actually made it. Yeah, you posted it, but whatever. And he went out there, and what came out of that guy's demented fucking brain with his asshole shaped fucking crusty orange lips, what came out of them what came out of those things was actually that he thought he was a doctor. Like, I'm just, again, not putting it past it. I'm not putting it past it. Typically, it's not something I bite on, but this one seems a little too plausible.
Well placed, if
Thank you.
I may say.
It.
I'm sure you've seen that the Vatican and the Pope and the President have been in the news lately. Yep. So as a Catholic, what does it feel like to be, in the middle of that?
I thought it was going to be
as a fake Catholic, right? As somebody who's out there pretending to be a Catholic, who's acting to be a Catholic, tell us how it feels to be in the middle of a fucking demented old fool, and again, somebody that you're really supposed to respect. You tell us that you respect, but you actually don't. You know what I mean? What's that feel like?
Kind of a tough question here.
Nope, no easy ones there.
So here's the thing about this. So first of all, you will sometimes hear people say, well, the Vatican, the church, whether it's the Protestant church, the Catholic church, like, they should preach the gospel. They should ignore public policy. I actually don't agree with that. I actually think that it's a good thing when Christian leaders, whether they're Catholic or Protestant, part of preaching the gospel is talking about how the gospel applies to the issues of the day. So I've never been one of these people who say...
And again, what does it say in the gospel about the president of the United States posting something depicting him as Jesus Christ? Does it say anything in the gospel about that? Like, what chapter, what verse would that be on? Is that Old Testament, New Testament? You're going to have to direct me to that passage because I'm unfamiliar with it. But again, not to say it doesn't exist. It's been a while since CCD, I'll just say.
You should never have, Christian leadership not talking about politics, or frankly, political leaders not talking about their Christian faith.
They just can't even keep their talking point straight either, because you got a lot of these other idiots telling the Pope to basically shut up and dribble, much like Laura Ingraham said to LeBron James, I believe it was. To just basically stay in your lane. I think it was Mike Johnson saying, hey, basically stick to fucking preaching, and if you dive into politics, you're going to get a political response, right? So basically saying, hey, stay in your lane type of thing. That's basically the theme of the day. But basically, J.D. Vance is coming out here and saying, no, he thinks it's okay for the Pope to come out and talk about how the Bible and his teachings deals with everyday life, but apparently it's okay still for the president to either post himself depicting himself as Jesus Christ, or is dumb enough to actually believe that he was some sort of like doctor represented in that meme. Again, there's only two ways in this. There's only two ways out.
I do think that we have to remember that each of us has our own role. I'm the Vice President of the United States. The fundamental way I understand my role is that I'm trying to take the lessons, the moral truths that are rooted in Christianity, and I'm trying to apply them to a whole host of complicated real-world scenarios.
No, that's what the Pope was doing, and then he was shot down, and then he was kind of demeaned and disrespected by Donald Trump for that exact thing. So again, none of this makes sense. You're not really answering the question either, because I'm sure it's a very difficult, position to be in, considering you also have to act like a Christian while also having to defend Donald Trump. It's kind of like, it's an impossible position to be in at the same time. So he's doing a good job trying to obfuscate and talk about blah 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 Christianity and today's lifestyle and all this bullshit, but he's really not getting to the heart of the matter, is he?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for that useless round of applause for the fucking useless shit that I just said. Appreciate it. All 27 people in the crowd.
So my job is to apply moral truth to try to do the best thing for the American people. That's my job. And that's the President of the United States' job. And of course, he's the person who leads our administration. The Pope's job is to preach the gospel. Okay. And again, I think.
Okay. So are we back to shut up and preach? Because it sounded like that's the opposite of what you just got a round of applause for saying. Like, I'm curious, because now it sounds like you're back to, hey, shut up and preach, stick to your gospel, maybe.
Sometimes in the context, like, it doesn't bother me, even when I disagree with him. And I have a lot of respect for the Pope. I like him. I admire him. I've gotten to know him a little bit. It doesn't bother me when he speaks on issues of the day, frankly, even when I disagree with how he's applying.
All right, so now we're back to not caring about him speaking about. Okay, so the question, how do you feel being in the middle of what Donald Trump said and posted, and again, what the Pope is trying to say and is putting out there? Like, are you going to answer the question, or are we just going to do this fucking dance all day?
Principle. So the most obvious example is, it has frustrated me that some of the Catholic clergy have attacked mercilessly the Trump administration on immigration. It is a constant idea that somehow everything that the Trump administration does.
And again, now we're back to, I hate that the fact that the clergy has attacked the Trump administration. Basically, again, talking about how the teachings and how they figure, humanity should look like and what it should look like is not being kind of, seen here in the United States. So he talks about how he doesn't mind when they speak up about, political day, things going on in the political life and in real time and how it pertains to their teachings, but also is pissed off that they decided to criticize Donald Trump for his immigration policies of mass deportation, ripping little kids from their parents, taking people out of their homes, out of their fucking place of work, out of churches, out of schools, out of courtrooms, rounding up American citizens, killing American citizens in broad daylight on the streets of America in 2025 and 2026. I mean, it's like, there's reasons in which they were speaking up. So again, JD Vance bouncing back and forth here. But again, I'll just fast forward for the sake of time to where he was heckled. I think it's later on in the program. I think it's in this clip, my apologies, where he actually gets called out. I think he's looking towards the guy right now. So let me see if I'll backtrack just a couple seconds, because somebody else in the audience is yelling out that I believe what he's saying is, you guys bomb children or you guys bomb babies, something along those lines. And JD Vance is in the very uncomfortable position to try to have to not only excuse that, but try to propagandize this person and the 27 people in the crowd to believe that they are, much better for the Middle East, much better for the people of Gaza than any other administration or any other president would have been, which is just absolutely asinine. The fact that you're giving Benjamin Netanyahu tacit permission to do anything he wants, the fact that you're allowing him to continue his genocidal push, again, does not dictate anything or give us any examples or any reason to look at you as a better outlier, as a better kind of example of where we would be if we didn't have Trump as a president right now. It's ridiculous to think that we would be in a similar or worse situation if in fact we voted or everybody voted for Kamala Harris. It's absolutely asinine. There's no way, shape, or form, even with the fucking discrepancies in pushback that I could give on that administration, that you could get me to believe that we would be anywhere even remotely close to this fucking situation. It's ridiculous. But let's just see here where JD Vance gets heckled, and then we can move on.
Survived the Holocaust. I certainly think
you can already hear the person in the background. It's probably tough for you guys to hear, but he says, "I heard support a genocide" come from the crowd just then. You can see where JD Vance kind of like did his little look up, like, shit, am I gonna have to respond to this?
Yes, and I agree. Jesus Christ does not. I agree. Jesus Christ certainly does not support genocide. Whoever yelled that out from the dark.
But JD Vance and his entire administration is doing exactly that right now. So again, you can see the hypocrisy here of these fucking fakes, of these hacks, of these actors. again, trying to portray themselves as Christians, as Catholics, as just fucking people just spreading the word of Christ and going around and healing people. Bull fucking shit, dude. Bullshit. How about that? Stick that right up your ass. Ain't nobody believing it, because everything you say is contrary to the supposed beliefs that you have. Everything that we're seeing come from this administration, as far as the inhumanity, right? As far as the, again, going against the Constitution, the illegalities, the brutality of the treatment, the lack of care, right? The lack of, accountability, the lack of transparency. We could go on down the list, but we don't have enough time, unfortunately.
Certainly does not. I think that's pretty easy. I think that's a pretty easy principle. Okay,
and the guy, you can still hear the guy. I know it's probably, like I said, really difficult for you guys to hear that, because I can barely hear him in the background. But I believe he's saying, then why do you guys still support the genocide in Gaza, is what he's saying.
Let me just say this. This is a guy. No.
And then, like I said, 26 out of the 27 people in the crowd decide to boo. But JD Vance he thinks he's got this under control. He thinks he can handle it.
First of all, random dude who's shouting, can I finish my point and then I'll respond?
So again, mock and ridicule the person instead of giving him, a coherent answer. Call him random dude. Talk about how he's yelling out. Like there's any other way for him to get his point across when he's in the crowd. JD Vance is up on the stage, other than to just shout it out, right? So again, that's what you do when you heckle. That's kind of the purpose. That's the reason in which he's doing it, so he can get an answer from you. Otherwise, if he whispered it to his partner, if he whispered it to the person next to him, probably not going to get a reaction from you, is he? But he did, didn't he?
What you just shouted, is that okay? Okay, great.
Yeah, can we give him 1 second to answer this?
So let me just finish this question on the Pope, and then I want to respond to what this guy said. So, number one, when the Pope says that God is never on the side of those who wield the sword, there is more than a 1,000-year tradition of just war.
I'll skip ahead.
When I talk, be careful when he talks about is. Again, hey, random dude screaming, I told you I'd respond to your point. I just want to respond to this question first.
Again, you can see how fucking butthurt he is. Like you can see how aggravated he's getting that this guy has the ability to shout out. Nobody's removed him yet, like they do at the the White House press conferences. The press pool at the White House. If Donald Trump gives the signal, they sit there and they scream and yell, "Okay, press, get out of here, press!" So nobody else can get another question in. Well, he doesn't seem to have that ability in this, and he's really pissed off that he's now caught out in the spotlight on stage with this person screaming out what they're screaming out, and he's going to be forced to answer the question.
But I think one of the issues here is that if you're going to opine on matters of theology, you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure it's anchored in the truth. And that's one of the things that I try to do. And it's certainly something I would expect from the clergy, whether they're Catholic or Protestant. Now,
anchored in the truth. I think a statement, a phrase never been associated with JD Vance, Donald Trump, or anybody in this administration. Right. I mean, that's pretty clear. I think that's pretty blatant. I think everybody can kind of clearly associate that as never being representative of this administration, of telling the truth, being on the side of truth. That's just, again, another one of these asinine statements that the people, even in this audience, in the Turning Points audience, don't believe, aren't buying, as you can see here.
To respond to this guy here, he said,
yeah, this guy here, making it so, trying to discredit this guy, trying to discount his opinion, making it, oh, yeah, let me just answer this random guy up here that doesn't really matter, even though he's, again, one of the 127 people that decided to buy a ticket to this event. But again, let me go on to kind of demean him and make it seem like his opinion doesn't matter.
I believe he said the administration supports a genocide in Gaza.
Correct. That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what's taken place. Again, look no further than your continued relationship alongside Benjamin Netanyahu. Continuing to see not only the lack of support and the drop in support that Israel has seen ever since you guys had, again, undertaken this and allowed Benjamin Netanyahu to continue his genocidal plot, his genocidal plan to create this greater Israel, apparently. But not only that, but I mean, the fact that we're seeing what we're seeing in the West Bank, we're not hearing it called out by this administration. You don't hear Donald Trump talking about it. You don't hear JD Vance talking about it, talking about how wrong and illegal it is, how it needs to stop. You never heard him push back about anything going on in Lebanon until it came to this like ceasefire, and it was really making Donald Trump look bad. And then finally some phone call had to be made. But other than that, there's just nothing to prove to us that, this administration is going to stop supporting a genocide or stop supporting Benjamin Netanyahu, who is actively engaged in a genocide, or again, the escalations in this Iran war, which could further lead to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people with their life at risk. You know what I mean? I mean, you're talking about fresh water, you're talking about oil and energy infrastructure in the Middle East. That's going to put a shit ton more people at risk than just the bombs that have been dropped by the United States thus far.
And here's my response to that. When we came in, the humanitarian situation in Gaza was an absolute catastrophe. You know who's the person who
you guys allowed that to perpetuate. You guys continued giving him permission to do whatever he wanted. And now he feels like he's got so much fucking power in the region, and he's been allowed to get away with and demolish so much that he's just going to continue that in every single fucking area in the region that he can possibly get away with, because he knows you guys aren't going to say dick about it. Right. So the fact that you guys came in here and now working more closely with him, giving him more weapons, giving him more fucking time, giving him more control, is not coming in here and being like, we're better off for the Palestinian people. Right. No, you're just giving him permission to eradicate them from their land. He just doesn't have to do it the same way he was doing it before. Right. He's now just doing it, in any way he wants to, whether it's with bombs, with guns. Right. Whether it's, with bulldozers, whether it's with settlers. Whether it's, again, with these secret votes that they've had to allow these new settlements to pop up everywhere in the West Bank. I mean, we could talk about it. And again, that's why we are going to look at the clip coming up of, again, the support for Israel just absolutely in the shitter. Like, couldn't be fucking further down. Could be further down, obviously, but the rapid decline, the rapid descent and we're even talking about in the GOP, we're talking about Republicans in a lot of different categories too. So not just the typical lefties, not just the typical people that you would expect. We're talking about a wide-ranging aspect of people that no longer are behind this, that are no longer able or willing to support this, and think that drastic action should be taken as far as the United States decoupling ourselves from Israel. I think that's pretty plain and clear. So, he goes on here to try to explain this, but again, too much of J.D. Vance in one day is too much to deal with. But I'll give him one more sentence.
Peace agreement in Gaza, Donald J. Trump. So if you want to complain about what happened in Gaza.
And again, another one of these fake ceasefires, another one of these, like, let's just call it a ceasefire. Let's just say we ended it. Meanwhile, let's not discuss how many people continue to die on a daily basis because of what's taking place over there, because of what's being perpetrated by the IDF, by Benjamin Netanyahu, by Ben Gvir, by Smotrich, by the rest of these fucking genocidal freaks that are now running that country. But again, he's trying to rewrite history to make it look like the cooperation that he now has with Benjamin Netanyahu, the relationship that the United States has with Benjamin Netanyahu, doesn't continuously allow Netanyahu to get away with murder, quite literally, and that they continue to, like, rest their laurels on these fake ceasefires where people continue to die, the fake ceasefires where this is like anything but in the region. There's been no kind of, end to it. There's been no kind of settlement reached. There's been no agreement to whose land is what. Like, it just continues to perpetuate. In Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu feel like they have the upper hand. They have the side of the United States. They have the fucking weaponry and the aid and the power of the United States behind them, which is why it gives him so much confidence to continue to do these fucking things all around the region. So, unfortunately, that's J.D. Vance there at one of those turning points. And then we go right into some more of this ridiculousness from this, because we'll dive right into this. We'll see if we can just get this out of the way. There's a couple moments from this that I wanted to talk about. This is Trump sitting down with Maria Bartiromo. And Jesus Christ. I mean, again, talk about the guy's brain just leaking out of his loafers mid-sentence a bunch of times. I think it's becoming even more apparent to the people that have to conduct these interviews that he is struggling mightily cognitively. He's no longer able to even remotely stay on topic. He's not able to answer any questions. Not that he ever was, but it's just becoming, ever more apparent, right? Just becoming more clear. Like he's not even getting 2 to 3 words out there before he's rambling off into nonsense, rambling off into fucking outer space, basically. But he sat down to try to answer a couple of Maria's questions. It didn't go well on the phone call Why they thought it was going to go well in person, I'm not quite sure. We talked about a couple clips that they had together the other day where Donald Trump called up Maria and couldn't answer any of the questions whatsoever. No pushback by Maria whatsoever. And again, just gave everybody ample reason to suggest that Donald Trump's cognitive abilities have absolutely left the chat, and that the every day that we continue to be in this position gets more and more dangerous for not only us in the United States, but also just the people of the world, at large. So this is Trump. Just a couple minutes of this. There's a couple clips here that I wanted to dive into where let's see if we can get any like ridiculousness, maybe possibly some insight. Again, I know how crazy that sounds, but I just want to know what this asshole's saying.
The hot topic of the hour, a lot of breaking news from President Trump. He told me the blockade of Iranian ports is now fully implemented. He told me the conflict is close to being over. I sat down with Commander-in-Chief for an exclusive interview at the White House yesterday, where he told me all about that, plus the current state of the economy, his expectations for the price of oil, and the reconciliation package to come. Take a look. Mr. President, thank you for sitting down with us. We appreciate it. You've had a real reaction to the blockade. Are you happy with the reaction since you put this blockade in place in the Strait?
Yeah, are you happy with the fact that you decided to close and already closed Strait? Like, how does that feel? Does that feel good that you decided to blockade a blockade, which is an act of war? Let me throw this on the screen because I talked about this the other day to you guys as well. Remember this when I was talking about this? So a blockade is the use of military force to prevent food, supplies, weapons, or communications, and sometimes people entering or leaving a country or region. Unlike sanctions or an embargo, which are legal barriers to trade, a blockade is physical. And then if you just scroll down here where it talks about the act of war, according to modern international law, blockades are an act of war. But blockade is therefore only legal if applied in self-defense and not as part of a war of aggression. I would consider this war undertaken by Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu and Jared Kushner absolutely as a war of aggression, right? We were not under attack. We didn't have bombs and missiles and drones raining down on the United States. So again, it goes on to talk about how blockades are legal only when used as to starve or to collectively punish a civilian population. So blockades are illegal when used to starve or to collectively punish a civilian population. Now, again, if we were to choke off the entire economy of Iran, like, would that go on to hurt the civilian population as well? I mean, similar to the way in which we would have struck their energy or oil infrastructure or the rails or bridges, basically taking out anything that they need to carry on with everyday life. I'm just curious. Is that what a blockade? Again, if we're trying to basically demolish and decapitate the entire economy of the entire country, that's typically seemingly going to help, that's going to go to hurt some of the population, right? I mean, it's just kind of, that's just the way it works. Such a blockade is a war crime and potentially a crime against humanity. Something that I don't see Maria Bartiromo bringing up too much in this interview. I can tell you that much. Play.
Well, it's been pretty amazing, actually. I thought that was going to happen. They reacted to this even, I think it was, we've obliterated them. And this almost seems to be more of a reaction than we had before.
And again, to not understand how embarrassing it is right now to have, as the United States, the need to have to go to Islamabad and continuously negotiate with Iran because of the control and the leverage that they now have on the world stage, because of the control that they have over the Strait of Hormuz, while also talking about how we've obliterated them, we've demolished them, we've taken out the Navy, the Air Force. Like, isn't that embarrassing? Like, I'd be embarrassed. I would. I'd be fucking embarrassed to go out there and be like, listen, we've taken out all of their soldiers. We've taken out all of their leadership. We've taken out all of their military, all of their missiles, drones, and everything. Meanwhile, we're still sitting here with our fucking dick in our hand, unable to come out of this on top, to come out of this with any benefit whatsoever to not only the American people, but anybody around the world whatsoever. Like, we're still sitting here cupping our dicks, like, thinking about what we can do, trying to blockade an already fucking closed Strait of Hormuz. At this point, it's just like the entire thing is erratic, and now we're trying to, again, he's trying to give himself credit for solving a problem that wasn't a problem before he initiated the war, which again made this a problem, Like if you follow that. So it's like starting the fire. You're going in the house, right? You fucking got a can full of gas and a handful of matches. You set the house on fire. You then run out of the house. You call 911. You go get a hose and you decide to put that fire out. And then you're like, well, can you praise me? Well, it's like you started the fucking fire in the first place, you moron. What are you talking about? Why are we going to praise you for putting out the fire that you started? Makes absolutely no sense. That's exactly what's taking place here. It's a problem that wasn't a problem before that Donald Trump wants a pat on the back for thinking that he solved, which was, again, blockading an already closed Strait of Hormuz. And it just, I think there's been like single digits shipped turns around at this point. I think it was something like 9 before I came on air. And obviously we heard of that sanctioned Chinese vessel that did make it through. So there's reporting going both ways. But again, there's no substantial traffic making it through the strait as far as that's concerned. But again, that's going to go to hurt not only the Iranian economy, but also the other people that utilize this oil that's coming out of here too. Right. So we continuously talk about Japan, the Asian markets, the European markets. We showed that video on here of the car channel that was in Germany that was having to deal with the gas shortages, the limits in the amount that they could have or pump in their car at one time. Not only that, but the exorbitant prices that they were paying. Like, is this, do you think, going to help that situation, or is that going to make it worse? And I do understand that the markets have recovered to a certain extent and that the price continues to go down, but we see this kind of change on a dime, and it wouldn't take much. It wouldn't take but a drone from the Iranians, kind of crashing down in or around a United States vessel in order to change that aspect, right? In order to make the markets react in a negative way. Again, we've seen how they've drastically gone down at certain times, and we're talking about drastically going down. I think we're at like $90 a barrel. So nowhere near the, what was it, $55 a barrel or something around that price before this war started. So all these news outlets and all these fucking papers trying to talk about like the dramatic decrease in the price of oil, like still put it in perspective of where we are now compared to where we were just 7, 8, 9 weeks ago at this point. Again, we're consistently and by every metric worse off right now than we were before this war started. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's nothing better off. They haven't obtained regime change in the way that they wanted to. They haven't seen this like dramatic, uprising of the Iranian people against the regime, right? The amount of targets that they've hit doesn't seem to help. The amount of ships that they've sunk doesn't seem to help. The amount of planes that they've shot out of the sky doesn't seem to help. Because they didn't see the control over the Strait of Hormuz coming. They didn't have a backup plan. They didn't have a way to mitigate that. And that's why we're in this situation right now, because of the fucking the incompetency of this regime and nothing but.
So we'll see. I mean, look, it only matters the end result. And we're doing very well. We started off with Venezuela. We showed everybody how good. I built the military. I rebuilt.
How are we doing well? Where, like, by what metric? I'm curious here. I really am. Because I'm just like, by what metric are we doing well? By what metric are we better off now? Like, what victory have we achieved? You know what I mean? What victory have we achieved? Can anybody in the chat, are there any MAGAs in the chat watching? Anybody on the right side of the aisle watching? What is the overwhelming victory that we've achieved? Like if Donald Trump ended the war right now, and again, the way that they've been speaking about it, we brought this up, I think like a week ago, where Caroline Leavitt was at the podium speaking in past tense. I think it was maybe the day that the ceasefire was announced, and we were speculating and other people were speculating, do they believe this is over? Are they going to try to call this a victory? And again, they probably really would try to call this a victory if it in fact wasn't for the Strait of Hormuz being such a huge fucking problem for them. He'd probably be more than happy to try to lie to people, say they've achieved some, overwhelming victory, to try to pat himself on the back and say he either started or stopped another 27 wars, whatever he comes out with. You never know. But at this point, he just can't because of, again, the embarrassment, because of the amount of pressure, the amount of power and leverage that he's afforded Iran on the world stage because of this war, where they didn't have this to begin with. They didn't have this leverage before this, or at least they weren't exerting their power or leverage over the Strait of Hormuz like they are now. So, like I said, by every metric that you could possibly calculate, this has been an absolute fucking debacle. This has been a detriment to the society, to the economy. Again, by every measure, every path that you look at, there's no victory to be had. And I'm curious, again, if there's anybody on the right side of the aisle, because we are welcoming here. That's another thing that I just want to reiterate. Trolls are very welcome here. Anybody that disagrees with you is not somebody that's going to get booted from the chat. That's not this type of chat. We don't start a fucking cult here. We have a very fantastic community, and I do appreciate people defending, their stance and maybe the show. But again, we're not here to demean people that have a difference of opinion, unless it's getting, bigoted, racist, violent, doxing people or anything like that. Then, the conversation goes on. So let's not make this kind of like a, you're either in the family or you're out of the family. We're trying to grow the platform. We're trying to welcome others here and change some minds too. So we can't change minds of people that are already here agreeing with everything. So we have to continuously welcome people in. So again, not booting people out for just a difference of opinion is something that we've kind of based our mods, the instructions that we've given the mods on here since we started this show. And we want to make sure that continues. So appreciate you guys in there. Thank you to all the mods, by the way, for everything that you guys do down there.
The military in my first term. I didn't know I was going to be using it this much, but we have the greatest military in the world, not even a contest. And think of it, they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, everything's been wiped out, they have no anti-aircraft equipment, they have no radar, they have no leaders.
And yet they've been kicking you in the balls for weeks now, huh? How does that feel? How does it fucking feel to be able to go out there and say that and still not be able to claim victory, right? To still have to recognize that you're out there getting your fucking head bashed in by the Iranians or what's left of the Iranians, as you'd come out here and have people believe, right? Like this like diminished nation that has been totally eradicated militarily, like is still out there bashing you over the head, either with Lego videos, either at these negotiations. You know what I mean? Like just the embarrassment of you having to set up this blockade, again, of a strait that was already closed is just an utter embarrassment, and it is a propaganda victory in and of itself. Again, it's going to be detrimental, absolutely, to the economy of Iran, which is, again, something you have to look at how impactful it's going to be to the citizenry of Iran, which is, again, why you look at the blockade as an act of war and the possibility of a war crime as well. Again, the possibilities here and the war crime allegations are stacking up very rapidly. Definitely something that The Hague could be busy for a while. Again, in a just world, if we were to see, justice, accountability for these cocksuckers that have, enacted this war, enacted these fucking actions, signed off on these actions. And again, this isn't just the leadership here as far as Trump and Hegseth. Again, that's going to filter down the chain. And again, is another real reason as to why the Democrats came out a few months ago to remind people, like Senator Mark Kelly came out and said, hey, just to let you know, not only do you have a duty to not follow illegal orders, you better fucking look at it for like the betterment of your life and your career, because it's putting you in a very sticky situation. Again, if you're the one having to sign off on these orders, giving them, passing them down to your men,
The leaders they have now, it's a new regime, okay? And we find them pretty reasonable.
Not a new regime. It's just absolutely not a new regime. It's just, there's no way you can get anybody to believe that this is a new regime, okay? It's the guy's fucking son. He's more hardlined, more connected to the military, more connected to the IRGC. And again, less amenable to, doing anything that the United States wants him to do, considering that we've taken out, how many of his family members continuously bombed his country for how long now? They were openly and actively engaged in conversations before, in negotiations before, and then we bombed them. So why would anybody trust the United States? Why would anybody take the word of the United States? So it's just, again, they've set us up for failure at basically every turn in this. We'll see what comes out of these reported, second round of negotiations, second round of talks that may come in Islamabad. So we'll see what comes from that. But here's Donald Trump again, trying to get you to believe that this is over, apparently.
To be honest with you, by comparison, pretty reasonable. It really is a new regime. And I think we're doing very well, but it only matters what the end result is. And maybe it'll happen fairly soon. Who knows?
And you told me
maybe it'll happen fairly soon. Who knows? Now, does that sound like somebody that is overwhelmingly confident on their ability to achieve victory. Again, the fucking the phrases that he's coming out with, does it really matter? Whatever, maybe it'll happen, hopefully soon. Like, these aren't things that like a confident person would say when they know they have the upper hand, or at least think that they have the upper hand in negotiations, or militarily or politically. Again, I think he's very well aware at how detrimental this has been, not only to his reputation, his approval, not that he gives a shit at this point, because he knows he's got pretty much nothing to lose, which, again, we know there's probably no more dangerous situation to have somebody be in when they have nothing to lose. But let's see if we can dive on here. We might have to forego. I know I kind of spent a lot of time on JD and Trump. My apologies, but we might have to forego Fetterman. Maybe I'll bring that up tonight on the Late Show. But again, I don't think JD Vance, Donald Trump, and John Fetterman all in one show is healthy for you guys, especially if you're driving somewhere after this, if you just ate. So I think I'll spare you the John Fetterman just because of the time constraints. But I do have time for this, luckily. We do have time for this. And again, probably our favorite. Hold on. It says your browser lost connection. Well, that's not good. That's not good, because in order to hear, you guys are going to have to need connection. So let me see if I can put this up here. I'll go back. I'll do it a second time. Put it back on the screen. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? There we go. All right. So probably your browser has lost connection to screen share audio. Try sharing screen again. Restart your browser if this continues to be a problem. Are you shitting me? It's not going to let me fucking play this? Stop it. I will have a fucking hissy fit right now. All right. I'll try it one more time. I'm going to get out of that. We'll get out of this. X that out. Try it one more. Uno más. If not, I don't know why it wouldn't allow me to. All right, I think we're good. I think it worked. Let me see. Put it on the stage. All right, I think we're good. But all right, so the favorite part of the day, favorite part of the show right here, ladies and gentlemen, kind of been a fan favorite recently as far as the clips that are going out there. So I appreciate you guys watching those and sharing those out there. But Persia Boy doing it again. Persia Boy doing it again. I know this is at least one of the studios, one of the platforms or accounts that these are coming from, but they just continue to be very quick on the draw. Like we've already been talking about today, the fighting with the Pope and Donald Trump posting his his meme depicting himself as Jesus. Well, they already got a Lego video. They already got one. It's already out there. It's titled Fake Jesus, right? Let's see if we can dive into it. Like I said, a new Lego AI video was just dropped entitled Fake Jesus Mocking Trump in Epic Fashion. And again, this is put out by Persia Boy Hemat is the name of the account. So check this one out again, titled Fake Jesus. And again, they're just rapid on these things. Rapid.
Then said I was just the doctor. Fake Jesus. You put on the robe and the glowing light, pretending to heal while you start the fight. I ran on this Jesus, the pure and the true. You mocked the faith, what a shame from you. You attack the Pope, calling weak and confused, and drop that day I pick like you're the one who's been chosen. White robe, shining hands, healing the man. While your bombs fall on our children in Iran. The Pope stands tall, says he's not afraid of you. You keep playing savior like the whole world is fooled. You think you're holy? Nah, you're just a clown, pretending to be Christ while you tear the world down. Fake Jesus. You put on the robe and the glowing light, pretending to heal while you start the fight. I ran on this Jesus, the pure and the true. You mocked the faith, what a shame from you. In Iran, we respect Jesus, the Messiah, the light, a prophet of mercy, a message so bright. You twist it for clout, turn it into a meme while you push for more war and more suffering. You act like the chosen, but the signs are all wrong. Playing Antichrist games while the real one stays strong. You delete the post quick when the backlash gets loud, but we see the truth, you're just another proud. Sacred defense. We honor the real one. You fake it for clout, yeah.
It is. It's crazy how like pertinent they are to like the daily news and what everybody's talking about. And again, the genius that they had to make these kind of Lego videos. Obviously, they weren't flagged for, whatever footage they were showing, anything that they were talking about. Like it's very difficult for that to be flagged in the same way. Not only that, but the way that they, they kind of aim it at the Western audience in general. again, has kind of led to the explosion of people sharing these videos out there. And again, there's probably 3 more that have dropped since this one, pertaining to, something else going on in the news, because the Easter eggs in these, again, the topics that they're discussing is just, it's straight pulled off the front pages. It's straight pulled off like the hot fucking pages of the press. But again, that's the latest drop there from Persia Boy, titled Fake Jesus, again, talking about and making fun of Donald Trump's feud that he's having with the Pope at the moment. All right, we probably have just enough time. Let me see. We probably have just enough time. We'll probably save Greg Kelly. There's a lot of these that we're going to have to save for tonight, which is probably pretty good, because that'll give us a little bit more time to talk about it. So like the West Virginia voters, stick around, join us later tonight, 8:30 p.m., because we'll be diving into a clip of some West Virginia voters having to cope with their kind of years-long trend of voting for Republicans, and obviously their voting trend of voting for Trump, and what it's kind of done to them economically, what it means for them as far as energy costs, right along lines with, the woman that was at the gas station in Pennsylvania filling up her gas tank and realizing that she was lied to, the construction company down in South Texas that lost all of its workers, that lost all of its bids, unable to do anything because of Trump's mass deportations, right kind of in line with that. So we'll be talking about that later on tonight. And also, like I said, Greg Kelly, and then a couple updates from OSINT Defender and Ukraine as well. But what do you say we dive into this just to kind of wrap up this afternoon edition? This is just quickly going over the dramatic drop in the popularity, in the support of Israel over the years. I think this goes back to 2022 and talks about kind of the consistent drop off since then. And it talks about all different categories too. This isn't just, liberals or progressives or leftists in general. This is talking about the GOP. This is talking about, people under 50. This is talking about different subsets and different categories. And all of them are trending in the same direction, which is, again, right to the bottom of the pit, right to the floor as far as support for Israel is concerned. The longer that they engage in their war against Lebanon, the longer that they have engaged in their genocide against the people of Palestine, the more that we see the Israeli settlers in the West Bank demonizing people there, running people off their land, burning homes, threatening people, killing livestock, the whole fucking 9 yards. That is what people are seeing. People are noticing that. People are recognizing that it's with the United States assistance, with the funding and help of the United States, and because of the relationship that Benjamin Netanyahu and how cozy he is to Donald Trump right now, that they're allowed to continue to get away with this. So this is just a quick rundown of some of the numbers. I'll speed it up just a little bit to see if we can get through a little bit more before I let you guys out of here for the day until you see it tonight. So again, this is just running the numbers. It says run all the numbers. U.S.'s Israel problem, popularity problem.
Hey there, I'm Harry Enton, and today we are running all the numbers on Israel's U.S. popularity problem. Israel is losing support here in the United States, even amongst Republicans. Take a look at this data. Take a look at this data amongst young Republicans. Look at this massive shift that we have had over just the last 4 years, the net favorability of Israel among Republicans under the age of 50.
Again, we're talking about under 50 here. So we're not talking about like the younger generation, right? We're not talking about just Gen Z or, just the college generation of the Republicans. We're talking about anybody under 50 here. So in 2022, it was plus 28 points. Now in 2026, minus 16 points. So an over 40-point shift we're talking about in just 4 years. And I'm sure a lot of that 40-point shift has come just from like 2025 on. And he continues on. There's a lot of different categories that you can see here. So
you go back to 2022, 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up for Israel amongst young Republicans. But by 2025, look at this. Already a 30-point shift away. Their net favorability down to -2. Today, look at this. Minus 16 points. That's an over 40-point shift in just 1, 2, 3, 4 years' time away from Israel amongst young Republicans. But that's not the only part of the Republican base where Israel is struggling. How about amongst moderate or liberal Republicans? They make up about a third of the Republican base at this point in time. The net favorability of Israel with moderate liberal Republicans.
I mean, look at how substantial the drops are,
2022.
Right? And again, we're talking about net favorability of Israel with moderate or liberal GOP. So people that would consider themselves to be moderate or liberal as far as the GOP is concerned. Again, take that with a fucking dramatic grain of salt. But in 2022, plus 26 points, pretty consistent with the last one, which is plus 28. 2026, minus 9 points. right? And these are the people that, again, are supposed to be in the GOP, the people that are supposed to want to see, the best for Israel in order to see their demise, so they can see the return of Jesus Christ, as we've already talked about, and the weirdness of like how they actually do support Israel, but again, only to see like the worst for it. It's a weird situation.
Again, 2 thumbs up. You'll notice I do a lot of Siskel and Ebert references. I just really like them. At plus 26 points. Today, again, negative territory, -9.
And then there's another one here. This talks about Thomas Massey, who again has been very against what Israel is doing, and talking about his favorability. The GOP nominee's got a 71% chance, again showing the contradiction, the difference between people that are pro-Israel and the people that are anti-Israel, and kind of how much the support they're getting. There's another one here that talks about what was this one here? This one talks about net favorability among men under 50, 2022, -3 points, 2025, -22, now -47 points. As far as among men under 50 in their favorability of Israel. And there's another one here as he goes on. Let me see here. There's another one, 50. Yeah, there's one about among non-liberal Dems. So again, people towards the center of the party, which again, I'm not sure how much is kind of been questioned as far as this is concerned. But in 2022, +3 points, 2025, -30 points, now -55 points. Right. So again, showing this dramatic decline no matter what kind of category. Here's among all adults, 2022 +13, 2025 -8, now -23. So the people are waking up, even the people that were slow to recognize, very slow, criminally slow to recognize what has been taking place. A lot of people, even within the GOP's walls, the GOP's boundaries, whether you're talking about the adults, you're talking about the moderates, whether you're talking about kind of the center of the party, or you're talking about the younger generation, the favorability, people looking at what's going on, our kind of relationship to what's going on. They're more and more likely to speak up against it, more and more likely to start now calling for that separation between Israel and the United States, considering, again, what the governments are engaged in. So, unfortunately, running out of time here on the early show. Stick around if you're here in the Blunt Politics chat, so I can thank everybody that sent in either a Venmo or kicked in on, via the chat there. I appreciate everybody on this space. Thank you to Matt. Thank you to the mods. I do believe I'm kicking it over once again to my main man, Jeff Waldorf, over on this space. And again, looking forward to talking to Alex tonight, aka Devil's Advocate. So much appreciated. Stay tuned and join us later tonight, 8:30 for the late show. Again, 2 hours tonight we get. So stick around. We'll be covering everything that we didn't have time to cover today. So hit that like button on the way out, subscribe to the channel, and I very much appreciate you guys. Thank you again to this space and Matt and everybody over there. Take it away, Jeffrey. All right, gentlemen, ladies, and gents, thank you guys for sticking around. I very much appreciate you guys. What's going on, Ellen? What's going on, Otis? How are you, Roxanne? What's up, George? What's up, Dame? What's up, Ian? What's up, Thanos? What's up, Rox? Appreciate you guys. How's everybody doing? V Sawyer, what's happening in there? V Sawyer with the Ray Bork with the 77. Much appreciated on that one. I know it's probably not, for Ray Bork, but I do like it. What's up, Search D for you? What's going on? How are you? Appreciate you for joining us. How are you, Masha? What's going on, Masha? No Money G. What's happening? How are you? What's up, Alyosha? Appreciate everything that you do, my friend. Appreciate everything that you do. What's up, Chris B? What's up, DPD? Appreciate you guys. All right, what do you say we get into thanking some people for everything that they did? See if there's anybody kind enough to pop over a buck or two over on the old Venmo slice. Over on the old Venmo slice. I appreciate you guys over. So the last couple days, thank you, Yakov. Thank you, V Sawyer. Thank you, Teague. Thank you so much to Allison. Thank you to Tom. Thank you to Emma. Thank you to Rochelle, Geneva, and Damon, Jenny Faye. All of you guys over the last couple days. Very much appreciate you guys for continuously helping this channel out. Couple in there today over on the YouTube side of things. Won't take us long. Thank you so much to Gamer for being here for 8 months. Let's fucking go. Very much appreciate that. Thank you so much for your loyalty, friendship, contributions, being in the chat, staying involved, staying aggressive, the whole thing, the whole 9 yards, Gamer. We appreciate you very, very much. Thank you so much to Jeff today for the $10 contribution. JD is still proving he is less popular than drinking bleach. Oh, Jesus. Again, the guy, everything he touches dies, except for one thing. Except for one fucking thing, seems to have like the potion against JD Vance's, his corrupt touch. It's unfortunate too. I don't know why this one thing seems to have like immunity You know what I mean? It's unfortunate. Everything else he touches seems to die, except for couches. So, Jeff, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to JD as well for the super sticker today, going right in the swear jar, my friends. Very much appreciated. Make sure you're tuning in tonight, 8:30 p.m. for another episode of Blunt Politics. 2 hours tonight. Remember, 2 hours tonight. We'll be able to, like I said, dive into a few of the categories, a few of the clips and articles that I didn't get to today. Again, sometimes my eyes are bigger than my stomach, and I try to get everybody caught up on a lot. And we just run out of time. I just spend too much time on the idiots, because that's what we have to do here. That's what we're here for. That's what we're built for. Calling out the bullshit, calling out the nonsense, calling out the propaganda. So that's what we're going to continue to do. All right, I'll see you guys later this evening. I appreciate you. Hit that like button on the way out. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. Hopefully we can get there at some point before I'm all gray in the hair, before I'm walking with a cane. Be great at some point. It really would be great. So I appreciate you. If you could hit that subscribe button, if you're not already subscribed, help us get to 20K. Before we get to the midterms, let's get a lot of weight behind our punches. I want to make sure that people feel these goddamn punches. I want to make sure that people hear these videos and see the clips, and make sure that they have to, kind of respect what is said here in this community. So thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much, Jeff. I see you in there. Colorado Avalanche Stanley Cup champ Ray Bork. Yeah, I mean, what a fucking what a time to be alive that was. You know what I mean? To see Ray play for the Bruins for so long and not get one, and then to see everybody in Boston pulling for Ray Bork when he played for the Colorado Avalanche and did get one. Like, it was a pretty cool moment, because obviously it wasn't your sports team, wasn't your home team, because of the respect that we had for Ray and everything that he gave to the Bruins organization. We obviously wanted to see him get one. So appreciate you, Jen, for the 420. Thank you for everybody contributing today. I know everybody's kind of in that financial crunch right now. I know everybody is, it's unstable times, uncertain times right now. So I understand that you kind of spread thin, all the
now, okay. That's part of the reason why that
inherently ask you to contribute to this, that, or the other thing. So I know you can only do so much. So I appreciate everybody that's chipping in a buck or two, keeping this show running. Everybody getting the merch over at Blunt Politics, at the Blunt Politics shop. You can head over to bostonbrian.com, get all the information that you're looking for. You can get the Zoom dates. You can get the show schedules. You can get links to all of my social media platforms, wherever they be, from TikTok to Threads to Substack, the whole 9 yards, Instagram. Again, all of them. You can also check out the link for the merch shop is on there too. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you, everybody, repping the Blunt Politics merch as we do. Check out this one. You get the lobster on the bottom. I just think it's fucking cool, really. We're getting into the summer months. You get the summer colors coming out. We get the nice fucking caps out there, right? Rocking and rolling with the caps, rocking and rolling with the hats. Let's fucking go. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for everybody grabbing one. Make sure you grab two if you do. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later on this evening. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. Make sure you're keeping your head on a swivel if you're getting out there. If you're, you're out there protesting. If you're out there for some event, make sure you're staying safe. Okay. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you later. Shout out to Pops. Hope you're feeling better. Just in case there's a TV, just in case like some other patient in this hospital is watching me on a TV and can hear me somewhere in the hospital, Dad. I love you. Hope you're feeling well. Hope the tests go well, and we miss you here. So W's in the chat for Dad. All right, I'm out of here. Thank yous. W's also for the mods, and W's also for the chat. W's everybody. Fucking W's all around. All right, let's just W it up. Let's just W it up. All right, I'm out of here for the 15th time. Little Irish exit here. Little Midwestern goodbye. I think that's the opposite of an Irish exit, so that didn't really make sense. Anyway, what are you gonna do? Can't win them all. I'm out of here. Thank you, Ellen. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you later, hopefully. Thank you, Tamra. Thank you, No Money G. Thank you, V Sawyer. Thank you to Jeffrey. Thank you to Jeffrey. Thank you to Wes. Very much appreciate you guys. Thank you, Yakov, for everything that you do. Thank you to, where's Tiff in there? Is she in there? Thank you to Rocks. Thank you to Thanos. Appreciate you, Thanos. Oh, sorry, I'm covering your names. You don't deserve that. Sorry. Thank you to 73 Namaste. Appreciate you. Thank you for that. Thank you to Sean Kuna, 62. Thank you to Masha. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Adam. Did I get the right account, Adam? Hopefully I did. It seems like I did. All good, Adam. All good.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Thanks, Dame.
For miners, do we love miners? I love miners. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come.
Brian, yeah, you're drunk. You're drunk.
Oh, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off.
The big, fat, sloppy